this week, I really want to take a step back and kind of go back to basics. I want to cover a foundational idea about what is a food relationship and why do we care. I love when I meet people and get to introduce myself as a food relationship coach because I immediately start to see the wheels turning. People give me inquisitive looks, ask me questions, which I love, so keep them coming. But it's something that brings up kind of this new idea about, well, okay, I eat food, and what's my relationship to it? And that's part of why I love what I do, because it starts to bring up this kind of new way of thinking about it. So by definition, a relationship means to be connected to another. So in simple terms, your relationship to your food is to be connected to it and being conscious of that connection. And our food relationship is really complex. There's a lot of facets to it, a lot of corners, and there's a lot of things that influence how and why we eat the way that we do and the foods that we choose to eat. And they're very unique. Our relationships to our foods are kind of like our fingerprints. Only we know what it looks like and what it really means to us. So the first step to kind of figuring out what your relationship to your food is actually has nothing to do with food at all, and everything to do with your relationship to yourself. Because the way that you view yourself, the way that you love yourself is directly related to how you eat. So if you're someone who really puts self-care at the top of your priority list, if you truly, deep down at your core, love yourself and know that you are worthy of a happy and healthy life, you're going to eat into that kind of a relationship. You're going to eat from a place of love. However, if you are someone who has a low self-esteem, you think you're fat, you think you're gross, you think you're ugly, you don't believe that you are worthy of a happy, healthy life, you're going to eat foods that are going to make you right about those ideas that you have of yourself. You're going to eat in such a way that's going to continue to drive a wedge in between where you think that you are and where you might be and where you want to be. So it's acknowledging this connection or disconnection with yourself and therefore your food, becoming your starting point for exploring your food relationship, becoming educated about the food that you're eating, and really beginning to build a blissful and positive relationship to your food. Exploring your relationship with food is always going to be a constant, and there's going to be changes and influences and things that impact your relationship with the food. So it's really important that you remain open to these changes, from a personal level where your body might be asking or wanting different things to nourish it. That will change from moment to moment, hour to hour, day to day, on and on and on. So, the things that you were eating last year may not be the same kind of things that you're eating now, or even the ways that you're eating might be different. And so it's really important that we stay open to these types of changes as they come about. And even bringing up to a macro kind of bigger picture level about the changes to our food system. So if new government regulations are coming in or advancements to our agriculture that impact the foods that we put in our body, it's important to explore those and keep those in mind as things are changing. And the best part of exploring, and probably the biggest impact to the exploratory part of your food relationship, is kind of getting outside of your food box, that I like to call it, which really is kind of your food comfort zone. So making sure that you're trying new foods, that you're exploring different food cultures that you may not be familiar with, because when we get outside of our comfort zones, it lights parts of us up that we may not have known before, and it really stimulates growth in our relationship. And the education part of your food relationship is way beyond just being able to read a label on a package and understanding the nutrients that are in it and the ingredients that are there. It's really understanding what role does that food play in our personal lives and in the world around us. So if you're looking at a given food and you want to ask yourself and get to know and understand, well, how does this food impact my body, mind, and soul? And then go bigger than yourself. Think about and understand, well, what role does this food actually have in my community? How does it impact my economy and the environment? Is it sustainable for Mother Earth, or is it destroying it? And it's really being consistent with both this exploration and the education around your food that really is what grows and builds your food relationship. And the key to this is really being patient and kind to yourself, because a lot of us have been programmed and hardwired into eating habits and the foods that we eat based on our upbringing. A lot of us have been influenced by society and diet mentality for most of our lives. So these types of changes, in order to rewire how we think about food and relate to it, absolutely take time. So it is absolutely critical that along this journey, you be kind and patient with yourself. So who cares? Why does a food relationship even matter? Well, in the state of things, even to just connect to your food is flipping the status quo right on its head. The food industry here in America runs on corporate lobbying and a grossly undereducated public. The food companies rely on our mindless consumerism to drive their profits sky high. And the result is a country that is ridden with disordered eating and diet-related diseases that are literally killing us. So to make a change individually really is where it starts. Unfortunately, we cannot change the system overnight. And it really begins with us. It begins with you to make changes to change our demand of our system. So if you're ready to make an overhaul to your health and wellness, be prepared to take a deep dive into your relationship with food and yourself, because it really is the foundation for all of your health and well-being. It truly does start with your food. And if this seems like a lot, it's because it is. Like I mentioned, our food relationships are incredibly complex, and there's a lot of different things that influence it and a lot of different facets and corners to explore. But that's exactly why Fudgy exists, to help guide you in exploring your own food relationship, providing education along the way, and reminding you to enjoy the magic that is food. And I want to end by saying that your relationship with food is first and foremost a mindset and perception, and secondly, the food. So just like the motto says, open your mind and your mouth.